I born in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. My home city is Quilmes. I born there, and I started to train martial art when I was a kid, 7 years old. That was Kyokushin. Later on, I started to train Aikido, and even later, I started to train Jiu-Jitsu and all the arts related, like grappling and wrestling, boxing. I start with the Japanese martial art because I like the culture. I always thought that it's a very interesting culture based on discipline, respect, and it's the core of martial art. So that's why I start. And later on, I like it even more. And my first sensei was a Japanese sensei born in Japan, living in Argentina. So it was very interesting to me to have that relationship with him, you know, with the different point of view of life. And it was super interesting for me when I was growing up. I started to do Jiu-Jitsu because I was looking for something more rough. I was training already Kyokushin and Aikido, but it was a time in my life that I wanted to do more grappling and learn how to deal with an attacker that is close to you. And I have a good friend that we were training together Aikido, and one time, because I was doing Kyokushin, one time he told me, you know how to kick, so let's try to do some kicks, some fighting and stuff. And in 2 seconds, he take me to the ground and he give me a rear naked choke on my teeth. And I said, oh man, what is this? It's so effective. And he told me this is Jiu-Jitsu. If you want to learn, I will bring you where you can learn this. And after that, I went there with him, and I never stopped afterwards. Well, I lived in Brazil for 2 years. I was already a brown belt at that time. I was doing really good in Jiu-Jitsu in Argentina, and I made my first MMA fight. I made 2 MMA fights in Argentina, and I was like running out of opponents there. And I decided to sell my gym. At that time, I have a gym for 4 years that we were doing MMA. And I sold my gym, and I went to Brazil, and I lived in Salvador, Bahia for 2 years, fighting, training, teaching, and it was a great experience for me. I upgraded my Jiu-Jitsu a lot there. I got my black belt under Marcos Rios. He's my first teacher, he's my first coach in Jiu-Jitsu. And we are from, at the time I get my black belt, we're from Novo Union, from the De Perneiras. He's the same coach of Jose Aldo. Well, I leave Brazil because I got an offer from Germany to teach in Germany in MMA Spirit in Frankfurt. And I was in my way to go to Sweden, but I get that stop in Germany, and they want me to teach there for 1 year at least, and I stayed there for 2 years. After MMA Spirit, I went to California, and later on to Miami. I was teaching there in California in Leopoldo Serrao Academy, where I met Jermaine Randerme, and in Miami I was training also with Amanda Nunes. We were friends already for the time that I was living in Salvador, in Bahia. We used to train together there. Well, Sweden was always in my mind. When I went to Germany, I was on my way to Sweden, and I always wanted to go there. And I don't know why I have this in the back of my head. And then one of my good friends from Brazil, he went to live in Sweden, in Gothenburg, and he opened his own academy there. So he invited me to go to teach, and I've been there for 2 years. It was a great experience for me. And yeah, it was awesome to be there with him and teaching there. Have a lot of fun. I met Alex 3 years ago by now, and this was the first time I went to Vienna to teach. And the funny thing is, one of the promoters wanted me to go to Vienna to teach like for at least 3 to 4 years before. And I was always traveling. I was at first in Germany, and then when he called me again, I was in Sweden, so we could never do it. And then he showed me a video of Alex, and he told me, hey, man, we have this guy, and he's very good and very talented, and he needs to have a good jiu-jitsu base, you know, for his MMA fight. So I think you can help him. And well, I went there, and I fall in love from the way they train and how they treat each other, and the team was amazing. And I met Alex, and it was super cool relationship from the first day, and I think it matched perfect for his development at that time. Well, yes. Actually, when they called me to help Alex, it was because they wanted to Alex to sign with UFC, and they thought that he was not ready yet for that. It was getting there. He was like super talented, but he needed to have an MMA coach. And at that time in Vienna was nobody that can help him in that level, and that's why they called me. And they called me with that task in mind. I said, man, we have to put this guy in UFC. And that's what we did. You know, I've been there for a couple of months. He made his last fight outside of UFC. He was super well prepared. He started to improve his overall game, his striking with the point of view of MMA, with the experience that I had, that I bring from America, from all the countries that I've been teaching. So, and then he's also started to improve his grappling and his wrestling. And yeah, we signed with UFC, and he started to do it better and better every time. Well, in the last 4 fights, Alex improved. Like, I never see somebody improve like this so much. In all these years of career, I met many talented people, very good fighters, but nobody like him. He's out of the box. The way he conducted himself and his mind, the way his work, the way he think and improve himself is, I never see something like that. He's always correct the mistakes, and he never do it again. And it's so easy to work with him, you know. It's like you don't need to do too much, you know. He will improve himself. Well, Alex in 2 years for sure is going to be a world champion, but that's not a question in my mind. I know him already for 3 years. We've been working together, and I remember after the first sparring we have, I told him, he was very strong and very big, you know, for the time, and I told him, man, you're a lion. The only problem is you don't have teeth and you don't have claws. So we have to learn how to give you those teeth. And after 3 years, now he's ready. So I see him in the next few years become a UFC champion of the world for sure. And first in this division, and maybe he will take over to the other divisions, that's for sure. But I knew this from the first day. I like I say, he was a lion already. He has this in his blood, and he just needs to develop more, you know. But right now he's ready, and now he's developed by himself a lot. So it will happen. It's inevitable. So Alex for this fight is preparing so well. He was improving a lot in the last fights, in the last camp. So this camp it was a little bit more easy for him. I think it's because the weight is right on point. His mind is right there. He knows what to expect. So for this fight, it was an excellent job. And like I say, it's getting easier and easier to help him because he knows what to do. And it's just a little bit details to correct and to help. But yeah, it's doing so well by now that it's amazing to see what he can do. And I hope he can put everything on this fight and show to everybody in the world what we can see from him, you know, that he's the next one on the line, you know.